judiciary seems to be going through a bit of a public relations disaster. This after confusing and contradictory reports have emerged in the last 24 hours over whether cash was found or not found at the residence of a High Court judge, to be precise, Justice Yashwant Varma of the Delhi High Court. Finally, the Delhi fire chief, who was quoted at first as denying the fact that this cash had been found, then denied his reported denial. Things are quite confusing. There's an ongoing in house inquiry, and at the same time, his transfer to the Allahabad High Court has been met with fierce resistance. I'm Barkha Dutt. You're with the Mojo Story. Our focus today is on the public relations disaster that is engulfing India's highest court, the Supreme Court. The Collegium is back under the scanner after its decision to transfer a judge who has been embroiled in a controversy suggesting that a huge pile of cash was found at his residence during a fire that had engulfed the residence, so quite by accident. At first, the Delhi fire chief was quoted by the media as saying that no cash had been found. Now, there has been a denial over this denial. The Delhi fire chief, in his latest comments, has said that he never denied that this cash was found. Nobody has come out officially and actually said how much cash was found, who was it found by, was it found by the police, was it found by the fire services. In the meantime, after outrage, the Supreme Court was forced to respond. The Supreme Court argued that the decision to transfer this particular judge to the Allahabad High Court was not connected to the inquiry, which was an in-house inquiry already ordered by the Chief Justice of the Delhi High Court. But several experts and well-respected jurists have said, given this ongoing inquiry, why was the transfer allowed to go through? Why was the transfer not held? Why was the transfer not frozen? In the meantime, Parliament, cutting across party lines, there's little that our political parties agree on, but when it comes to judges and the powers they enjoy, and in particular the Collegium, which actually appoints judges, the BJP and the Congress have both been targeting Justice Yashwant Varma. As many as 55 members of Parliament spoke up about it, and the Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar, sitting in the Rajya Sabha, said, had this been a politician, he would never have been spared in the way to Justice Yashwant Varma seems to have been shown leniency. Now, remember, the reason this case is so serious is because it goes right to the credibility of the courts, of the judicial process. I want to introduce on the program today our newsmaker, Sanjay Hegde, is with us. Sanjay Hegde is, of course, a senior advocate, one of our best-known lawyers. Thank you, Sanjay. I'm taking a cue from your own post on X where you said that this has been mishandled. There are lots that we don't know. There's lots that's been suggested, then withdrawn, then suggested again. But there has been no clear communication from the highest court of the land. The statement given by the Supreme Court actually only, in my opinion, with great respect to the court, muddied the waters further, because the Supreme Court argued that the transfer was on a parallel track, the inquiry was on another track, and there was no connection between these two developments, leading many to say, all right, why didn't you hold the transfer? What was the hurry for you to go through with the transfer till the inquiry was complete? Your first thoughts.
Well, yes, the problem is that judges and lawyers often have no idea of the media cycle, or what sounds perfectly logical to a lawyer, how it sounds to an average person who is not a lawyer. Now, what the Supreme Court has said, the Collegium has said is, look, we have not yet transferred the judge. The process, independently, the judge had asked for a transfer, or we were in the process of transferring him back to his High Court, and we were in the process of consultations. And at that point of time, this particular incident has happened. Now, what is the incident? The incident is that on the night of 14th, which was the night of Holi, there is a fire in an outhouse in the judge's residence. The fire brigade is called in by the judge's daughter, possibly. That's what I read from. And they come in, they douse the fire quickly, and they leave. But in accordance with their protocol, these days with everybody having a mobile phone with the video cam, they took a video. Now, that video possibly shows some notes burning. I haven't seen the video. I believe it has been shown on certain channels. The question is, who leaked it to those channels? But however, from the description that I get, I am told that in a bag, a small bag, that is, there were some notes burning. That video then is transmitted through the system from the fire brigade to the police to their higher ups, and then to somebody in the judiciary saying, look, there is this incident that you might want to inquire into. So far, so good. Now, when it comes to the inquiry part, and an inquiry is necessary, the Collegium was convened, but then from within, some kind of from within or without, or we have a very strong band of Supreme Court reporters, many of whom are my friends and who are always looking for a story. So I do not know what spin, who gave, when, or whether the reporters went ahead of the game. But the ultimate messaging which has gone out is that there was a fire where there was lots of cash burning, and the judge concerned is being protected by the system. That is absolutely untrue. Firstly, there is a very necessary process of insulating the judiciary from the executive. And I want your viewers to know why that is so. Because otherwise, any judge hearing a sensitive case, for instance, you would suddenly find that he is accused of beating his wife or something or the other, and you can't have policemen barging in. When I began practice way back in the 90s, the Gujarat police at that point of time had arrested a district judge in Nadia, put him in handcuffs and produced him before a court, saying that he violated the prohibition law. Between the judge and the police of that particular district, there had been in some bad blood or history of rancor. So the judiciary had to step in, and thereafter there have been several safeguards put in, saying that before you go on to arrests or doing anything where a criminal matter is brought to your notice, you better take the Chief Justice's permission. That's the judgment in Sarojini Ramaswamy. So this insulation, mind you, this is only insulation. This is not immunity. And so what the judiciary does is it conducts its own probes, and then if it finds material, then it goes to...
So why the transfer? If that's the case, I'm interjecting you here.
Yeah.
So far, so good. The judiciary has to be protected from the executive. The executive has vested interests. All political parties have vested interests in weakening the process by which judges function and appoint judges. Why the transfer? The Supreme Court's very complicated statement basically made 2 or 3 points. One, that it said that there's been misinformation around this whole case. Then it went on to say that the Chief Justice of the Delhi High Court had ordered an in-house inquiry, and the decision to transfer Justice Yashwant Varma to the Allahabad High Court was unconnected, suggesting that it was ongoing and a process that had possibly been started before this case hit the headlines. Yes. The questions that many, not just lawyers, I had 2 judges on this program yesterday, Justice Ganguly, who served at the Supreme Court bench, and Justice Sanjay Banerjee, who himself is seen to be a very upright judge who was transferred unceremoniously from Madras to Meghalaya, right? Both felt that the transfer happening in the middle of this sent the wrong signal. Do you agree with that the transfer was a mistake?
Absolutely. And right now the position is that the transfer has not happened. If I've read the Collegium thing incorrectly,
what do you mean? What do you mean the transfer has not happened? What do you mean?
Please go back to the statement if you can put it up. There was the process of transfer was on. There was a process of also consulting the judges, the other judges of the Allahabad High Court, etc. And a final resolution of the transfer had not yet been adopted. And once the Collegium recommends a transfer, it's only thereafter that the government and passes orders in respect of that. So the in so if you could
let me find the operative part. This is I need the
yes, yes,
original
yes, yes,
statement on
yes,
the share
yes,
screen, please. Yes. So let's keep going. Uh,
yes.
right. This is
Okay,
not the part about the transfer.
this is with regard
I
to
need
the
the bit
in-house
about the
inquiry.
transfer. Yeah, no, it's the wrong statement again.
Huh,
Yeah, here it is.
huh.
The proposal was examined, therefore, letters were written to the consulting judges of the Supreme Court. Responses received will be examined, and thereupon the Collegium will pass a
Will
resolution. So
pass a
you're saying that this
resolution.
transfer is not done yet. You're saying
Yes,
it's not done
exactly.
yet.
It's not done
That's
yet.
very important. That's very important.
Yes.
Keep going. Explain
So,
this to us.
no, so what the college, what the statement says is that look, we were in the independently. There was also this proposal to transfer him back to his high court, and we were going through those motions. They
Yeah.
when this controversy broke out. So this is exactly my point. What looks clear to a lawyer does not look clear to the public at large. This is where you need clear writing which communicates to the non-legal audience.
Hmm. So if the transfer is not through, and by the way, if I can come out of this now, if the transfer is not through, this is the first time someone has bothered to explain this to us and lost in this legalese. Everybody has just assumed, including the Bar Association of the Allahabad High Court, that the transfer is through. And we've been seeing statements. The president of the Bar Association has been saying, we're not a dustbin. You're doing ghar wapsi for 15 crores. They've even put a number on it. We don't know where they've got this number from. But actually, buried in the fine print is your explanation that the transfer is not through.
It's not my explanation. It's a fact
But
that the
it's
transfer
buried
is
in
not
some
true.
fine print. But it's buried in some
They-
fine print.
Now, I don't draft those resolutions, nor nor do are those resolutions checked for clarity or for communication. If
Hmm.
if there had been a clear sort of head, what we lawyers call a head note, saying this is the executive
Yeah.
summary and this
Yeah.
is the entire resolution, things would have been much better.
So are you saying that this has been a communications disaster?
Of course, of course, it is a communications disaster. They and I
Yeah.
and I've been trying to tell people, and thank you for calling me, so that that more people get to know what's a what is really happening. Please, I as far as the judge is concerned, uh, the legal profession is one of constant peer review. We also know, we generally
But
tend to know
for
who are good
example,
judges, who are not good judges.
but then, for example, if the transfer is not through, Saurabh Vashish says the court press release does not clearly state that all proceedings of the transfer process would be halted pending investigation. The court press release is incredibly vague. This is not a lawyer. This is just a member of the public consuming the same content that we are, and we are trying to make sense of. And I think if the Supreme Court had said, you see, the Supreme Court has said others are being consulted. They have not, and they have said the transfer is unconnected to the inquiry. They have not said we've held the transfer because of the inquiry. These are very
I
different
know,
things.
I know. The the key to good writing is constant rewriting. Very often, we lawyers are used to dictating things to stenos and then taking a one over, and then there is always a time pressure and things go out. So, this is
So
part
where
of
is
my.
this technically Justice Yashwant Varma is in which court right now? Technically.
To the best of my legal understanding, he is still a member of the Delhi High Court. There is, the Collegium makes a recommendation for a transfer. It is up to the government, that is the president, then signs an order of transfer. That order of transfer is nowhere around.
Then why do we have
it's not
headlines?
as if when the Chief Justice says go join X High Court or Y High Court, the judge instantly goes to that High Court. There have been many cases where the Collegium has recommended transfers, and the government of the day has not passed a transfer order.
Right.
I can
But
tell you in,
Sanjay,
yes,
I have a question.
yes,
For the last few days, we have been seeing not just the lawyers of the Allahabad Bar Association protesting and saying we're going to have a full meeting, we're not going to welcome you here. We have also been seeing headlines suggesting that Justice Varma is not sitting in court, he's on leave. And to the best of my
that
knowledge, and
is
I'm asking my producers to pull up these headlines, he's on leave from the Allahabad High Court, not from the Delhi High Court. Which
no,
court is
no,
he
no,
on
no.
leave from?
He will be on leave from the Delhi High Court till such time that there is no government order expressed in the name of the President of India transferring him and asking him to join the Allahabad High Court. The transfer has not gone through. I'll
But
tell
the
you that
Supreme Court,
the Collegium at times had recommended the transfer of, if I remember rightly, Justice M.R. Shah, who was then in the Gujarat High Court, to some other High Court. The government never gave effect to that recommendation. He continued on the Gujarat High Court and then came to the Supreme Court.
what you're saying is, now, this headline at Bar and Bench says Justice Yashwant Varma on leave, but it doesn't
Yes,
actually specify which court he's on leave from. So, you're saying that the transfer has not gone through. He's technically still a member of the Delhi High Court. The entire
yes,
brouhaha around why this transfer has been done is therefore technically incorrect. But
yes.
the Supreme Court, can we look at another article which actually tells us which court he's reported to be on leave from? Guys at the back, okay. But the Supreme Court has not said anywhere that we're holding his transfer because of this ongoing controversy. So let's come to the controversy. What happens
Let's come
now
to
with
the
this
controversy.
controversy? Yeah,
Now,
let's come to the controversy.
as far as the controversy
Wait,
is
I have one
concerned,
more question. I have one more question to read out. Prasad says, let's not pardon this Supreme Court communication is poorly written. For the most eminent body of the country to goof up communication under the pretext of poor lingo is lame. I see deliberate vagueness. Please respond.
I don't speak for the Supreme Court. I may entirely agree that it is poorly drafted, etc., etc. But I don't see malice. I don't see malice in it. That's about it. So,
What I've understood
can,
from you, yeah, what I've understood from you before we come to the controversy, and I just want to recap this for our viewers, that you believe that Justice Yashwant Varma has not yet been transferred to the Allahabad High Court, where the lawyers have said he's not welcome anyway. That the Supreme Court is actually saying that this is still a consultative process that is on and it is not connected to this case, which is independently being inquired into by the Chief
yes,
Justice of the Delhi
yes,
High Court. That said, I think we can
yes,
both agree that the Supreme Court has not said either that his transfer is being put on hold till we have a clear answer from the inquiry. They haven't said that either, correct?
they haven't said that. In fact, I mean, if I were to redraft it, or if some communications expert, the Dilipcharian types had been consulted, they would have said, please separate the two issues, give separate press releases on in re the transfer. This is the position. Fine.
But the question would have
The incident.
still been asked, why is a normal process ongoing? Why hasn't that process been put
Why
on
is the
hold
normal process
clearly?
on?
Yeah, yeah. The
No, no.
question, the criticism would have still been, Sanjay, that if a man has been accused effectively of not a man, a judge of the Delhi High Court has been accused of hoarding unaccounted cash, the amounts have been reported. Again, no evidence, no official accounting of how much money some people have received. Poor drafting. What would you say?
No, the point is, as far as the transfer was concerned, it was independent and it was happening much prior. Look, there are many reasons for a transfer. There have been judges who have voluntarily sought transfers, saying that, look, my child is practicing in the same court. I don't want to embarrass him or her, and so they've sought transfers. There have been in times when transfers have been allowed because there's an aging parent, the parent needs hospitalization somewhere, all kinds of things. So transfer is not necessarily stigmatic. It looks like independently Justice Varma had asked, now please send me back to Allahabad, or that process was independently on. At this point of time, this fire has happened on the 14th of March. Now, that both things have been conflated together. The Supreme Court tried to deconflate it, but it made a mistake in putting everything together in one hodgepodge.
Let's come to the controversy. There are now all
Yes.
kinds of conspiracy theories floating around in the capital, including an old case of 2018, which involved a sugar mill. You would have
2012.
seen this reported. Yeah,
Yes, yes.
there it is. I mean, the FIR was filed by the CBI, or he was named in the FIR in 2018, right? Let me just bring up the correct banner here. Right. So here it is. So there's a 2018 FIR that is returned to haunt Justice Varma, and now this is being speculated on that
Okay,
how
now
did he
can
get
I
away
give you
with
the
this?
facts there?
Yeah,
Can I give you
yeah,
the facts
yeah.
there? When Yashwant Varma was a lawyer, he was a non-executive director of this Shimbauli sugar mills. At that point of time, there were irregularities. He had no executive position. He was not in Delhi, running it daily or whatever. They very often, the boards of many companies have professional directors. At that point of time, there was a CBI inquiry with regard to the mill, etc., and that went on for years. In the meanwhile, Justice Varma had become a judge. Mr. Yashwant Varma's name as an advocate and director of the company with regard to events of 2012 continues. And somebody in the CBI, without checking who was what, went and filed a charge sheet against everybody, including the non-executive director of that day, that was Justice Varma. Then apparently, from what I'm given to believe, then the matter was taken up before the court concerned, and the court has dropped the proceedings insofar as Justice Varma is concerned. But now that the other controversy came up, old controversies, everything is being revived.
That's right. So let's come to this controversy.
Okay.
Controversy that
Yes.
unaccounted cash has been found reportedly at the house of a Delhi High Court judge. The
Okay.
amount of
Reportedly.
cash we don't know. Report what else? Nobody is speaking officially. This is
Yeah.
all leaks and
Let me put that out. Reportedly.
yeah.
See,
Okay. So media reports,
huh,
media leaks, but we
leaks.
have to assume that but we have to assume that the fact that the Supreme Court issued a statement confirming
Yes.
that there is an in-house inquiry by the Chief Justice
Yes.
of the Delhi
Yes.
High Court means that something has happened. Something has obviously happened.
Yes. Something did happen. A fire took place. After the fire, when the fire was doused, there was a video, and in the video there is a doubt that there were some notes which were burning. That is the case. Now let me also put the facts. Where did the fire happen? It does not happen inside the judge's house. It happens in an outhouse, and you Barkha, you know how the official houses in Delhi are. There is the main house, and at quite some distance, there are servants' quarters. There is an outhouse, etc. Apparently, this is my information that this fire took place in an outhouse, to which the family normally doesn't resort, and the fire brigade was summoned by the judge's family, possibly the daughter. The judge and the rest of his family was away out of Delhi, and they come back as on their scheduled date the next evening. So look, if there was, if a person was hiding a huge amount of cash in the outhouse and is told that there's a fire, then you can rest assured that the person will come post haste willy-nilly.
Yeah.
All that seems to have happened is that there's a fire, that the fire is put out. Nothing major, comes back. But in the meanwhile, this video which was taken, this video has started doing the rounds of Delhi. And when it is brought to the notice of the judiciary obviously can't sweep it under the carpet. So here is a phrase that has troubled me always. On another channel, I described this as an Agni Pariksha. Literally an Agni Pariksha. An Agni Pariksha.
Literally and metaphorically.
Metaphorically. Please look at the metaphor. The Agni Pariksha was extremely unfair to Sita. But it had to be done. And I hope it doesn't end the way it ended in the Ramayana, where after vindicating herself, Sita then refused to go back to Ayodhya. So today we have a situation.
So you are sounding.
Yes.
You are
please go ahead.
Like you intuitively, if I may interpret you, you are sounding like you intuitively believe the judge has been treated. Your sympathy seems to be with the judge.
Let me put it this way: my instincts right now, because of this lack of information and little information coming in driblets and drabs, and going by what I know of the law and life, I think that this is an unfortunate situation in which the judge concerned has found himself. But the credibility of both the judge and the institution require a full inquiry. It requires transparency, and it requires much better communication. The judge concerned cannot do it. The judge concerned cannot do it because obviously when you are facing an inquiry, you answer those people who have power to hold the inquiry. There can't be anybody coming out on his behalf and saying these are the facts, this, that, and the other. So all that I'm requesting you and your viewers is, let the story play out over a few days. Let's hold our horses. Let's not rush to judgment.
So let me ask you finally, what should happen? I will still argue with you. While I accept the point that facts are hazy, there's a lot of speculation, I will still argue with you that the Supreme Court statement did not help matters. It confused people. People didn't understand. Ye transfer hua hai, nahi hua. This is the highest court of the land. They should be writing better.
That always, no, we as lawyers, let me tell you what a lawyer who then became a judge once told me. He said that the key to good writing is to not dictate, to throw away your stenographers and start writing by hand. And then you leave that draft, you come back, you reread it, you read it out loud, and then you will find how it resonates with the public at large. There was no. It looks like there was no time. There was a hurry to put out a communication, and I believe that it did disservice to the cause.
But one last question. A lot of people in our audience, for example, Madhu says we should give this much space to judges, but the same can't be said about others. In Parliament, when this case came up, politicians said, had this been a politician, everybody would have rushed to judgment. Saurav Vashist says this isn't a Sita returning from long captivity. This is a justice of a high court. An in-house inquiry implies opacity and concealment. So the point is, obviously, we all agree it's been mishandled. Now what should happen? There needs to be greater transparency in what's actually going on.
Absolutely. I hope that the inquiry clearly sets out the facts and its conclusions. Uh, Obviously, the inquiry report will not be made public immediately. It will go to the Collegium. See, the inquiry can go either way. The inquiry can say that, look, there was nothing in the matter. All that happened was a fire. Then thereafter, the registrar X, registrar Y visited the place. They saw nothing. This could be one conclusion, or the other conclusion could be, yes, there was this, therefore this. So the judge concerned must be asked to explain, or you take it further
But
from
people
here.
are asking you that Sanjay, people are asking you, Sanjay, like Prasad, Sanjay is always so quick to take a position on every political issue. Why does he demand time and advice and not to rush to judgment in this case?
Okay, that's a very nice question. Politics is a matter of opinion. The legal process, no matter how much you hate it, is where even the most despicable of accused is entitled to a full hearing. We are a country which gave even Ajmal Kasab the full due process. So when it comes to a judge who right now is defenseless, and he can't come out and put his version
And
of
speak
things,
for himself.
speak for himself. So it is better. All that I'm saying is, let the facts play out. We may have certain questions, but let the facts play out, and after some time, most things will be clear. And as far as the fire chief is concerned, the fire chief has obviously found out that expressing an early opinion either way can be dangerous to a government servant.
The point is that it cannot be so difficult to establish some facts. Was there any unaccounted cash or not? If so, what was the
To
value
the
of
best
that
of
cash?
my information, so far, to the best of my information, subject to correction, subject to the facts coming up, not a single rupee was found or recovered or recorded. This appears to be the situation.
But how difficult can it be for somebody to come out and say that officially if that's the case?
This is a case of too much smoke over a very small fire.
Too much smoke over a very small fire. Do you know, with some, are you willing to stick your neck out and say that no money was found, that this is actually an entirely fabricated story then?
No, let me put it this way. My information is that so far is that no money was found, no money was recovered. There is suspicion that there was money burning in a particular bag. But given the size, given the circumstances, given the size, given the size of the bag concerned, you must take it that all these fanciful figures of 15 crores, 20 crores, etc., are all entirely out of the equation. Please look at it this way. The maximum currency today is 500 rupees. 50,000 rupees is 100 notes, which is about this thick. 1 lakh is about this thick. 1 crore would require more than a major suitcase. Okay. And if you're talking of 15 crores or 50 crores, you are looking at an entire room full possibly. And if it was a small fire, there definitely would have been a recovery. If it had been a fire which didn't burn everything, there definitely would have been a recovery. So
go ahead.
So if you add up the circumstances, it does look to me that a full transparent inquiry is necessary, but I doubt that the inquiry will find anything. If it finds anything, but the danger is that even if it doesn't find anything, with all this mishandled communication, there still will be problems. The key is
and that
clear
is the
communication.
Absolutely. And that is, if there had just been clear communication to begin with, that to be safe, there is, an inquiry was ordered right after this came to light. In the meantime, we are taking no further decisions on the case of his transfer. We're pending investigation. That's all actually the court needed to say. I think the headlines would not have played out in this way. But you are saying your information is that there's too much smoke over a very little fire. We will wait a few days for the facts to reveal themselves, and hopefully they will sooner rather than later, because the stakes are high. It's not about one judge or the other judge. It's about the credibility of the judicial process. It's about politicians lurking in the shadows. Yes,
one last line.
Yes.
See, it's not only the credibility of the system as it now is, it's also the credibility of the system that is to come. Now, many of the people who have taken judgeships are people who have been successful lawyers and who have made a certain financial sacrifice to be there. They possibly want judicial immortality in their judgments, etc., for whatever reason. If this kind of media frenzy happens, that too may then be a distraction for good minds from accepting judgeship. Why should you be in a position where you are required to go through Agni Parikshas?
Right. Very interesting conversation. Very different right now from the dominant narrative. But indeed, the Supreme Court is guilty of one thing: terrible communication. They need to get somebody to write for them and in a language that is accessible, clear, simple, and not this sort of overly technical legalese which buries the headline, as they say in our profession. Thank you so much, Sanjay. It's been an illuminating and interesting conversation. We'll circle back when we have more facts, hopefully, in the next couple of days. Take care and have a great weekend.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.
It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.